Hello and welcome to Monday night's preview of Doncaster Dogs tonight. And we're going straight on to race one of a 12 race programme, kicking off at 6:09. It's a competitive race, this one. Slippy Dorian's an interesting runner in trap two. She's switching back up in trip again after a bit of a on-off the card spell for Jimmy Gaskin. But she's not always the best of breakers, but she's definitely got plenty of ability, and I think there has been money for her as well. I made Lightfoot Shap in trap five the favourite here. Let's have a look at the form clues then. There you go. There's the runners. And maybe the other runner is Swift Lethal in trap four. 4 and 5, both trained by Sean Parker. Swift Lethal has got a good deal of trapping ability, can smash out and trap really well, as she did last time out, clocked to 29.65 calculated. Lightfoot Shap, though, is probably equally as good as a 29.50-60 dog, and she's kind of a fairly unexposed, really, still starting out on a career, and she seems to be getting better with each run. She was another last time out winner and be a good yardstick in Ferryforth Davy. I thought that was slightly better form. So all in all, it was a tricky enough contest. 2, 4 and 5, the runners slightly favoured 5. But I didn't have a bet in race one. On to race two then. This is an A2 contest, and I'm just going one last time here with There You Are Now. I've been a bit disappointed with her in the last couple of races. She seems to get to the third bend and doesn't quite drive it that well. And she hasn't really been smashing the bar. She's not really an early bird as such. She stays all right. But she's been running well up to sort of December, really. She's got into January, and those couple of lines of form just half put me off a little bit. But she's got a good makeup here, because True Mount Star is an interesting runner in trap two, again for Jimmy Gaskin. Will definitely be edging off, moving into the middle of the track. Not always the best of breakers, but only had the one start, and that was over 450 in B3 company. So open to plenty of improvement, a young June puppy. But I just thought that There You Are Now, with a livelier break, could surge to the front after that decent break and then dominate here. There's not a lot of early speed in the race. Keedy Welcome can trap okay, and that was probably the only danger in the early pace department. They did actually meet last time out. There You Are Now got to Keedy Welcome at the third bend, and I say rather bottled it more than anything else, I thought. But of course, the ground's been a bit hit and miss, and there's been a lot of rain, and now we've got the colder snap and salt in the ground. So it'll be an eye out on the ground. We haven't got too many races, obviously, to make the decision. But I've gone with There You Are Now really because I make a slight favourite in this race, and she's around about a 3-1 chance. So a small bet on There You Are Now to get the good start, get into the contest, and show her true colours. Race 3 then. That is an A3 contest. It's an interesting race, this one as well, because Rycroft Cleo's stepping back up in trip from running over 450 metres. She did run back in the summer of last year and won A2s and A3s. She's got a really good makeup because Merry Meeting Dev is a slow breaker and is a bit of a one-pacer, really. That one trialled in with Busted Flash, who's making his debut here. And I noticed he did have a bit of early at Limerick in sort of A4, A5 company. And Minnie's Ivan is another one. I don't think quite the class. Those three might just struggle class-wise. Tullamurray My Way looks to be the best dog in the race. Not too sure he wants to be quite stuck out in 5. And again, his last couple of efforts weren't brilliant, but it is a big drop in grade for him, so he could get into the contest at an early stage. The fact that we don't really know what Rycroft Clear is going to do because we haven't got that kind of 4.8, 3 metre form. And Barnside Taylor is probably another one that he kind of flatters, or she flatters to deceive, really. She's 4 from 42, so not a great strike rate. But again, I thought at 11-2 she might be overpriced. But all in all, I wasn't really tempted into having a bet in race 3. Moving on to the 4th race then. Another interesting race, this one, because Lightfoot Robin is a young unexposed greyhound of Sean Parker's. She's been sprinting recently after having a spell of lameness, but she looked quite good. She was running sort of B3, B4. She actually got up to a B2 and was made favourite before she went lame. So I just thought that she had a real good chance here to get a good start, get to the front. I think she only just gets the trip, and whether she's rightfully race fit to get the 450 metres is a bit of a question mark. But I just thought there was enough in there at the price, again, 4-1, 7-2, I thought was a decent price for a dog that you think can dominate. The kennelmate Barnfield Hawk is always a dog I quite like. He's getting a bit on in age now. He's had plenty of races, but he always seems to get a decent break. He needs to do that because he's in two here today, as you can see, and he needs to read the rules. He was very, very hit and miss, capable on his day, but I just thought that we could get Lightfoot Robin off the front, and hopefully she'll stay there. Joyce's news on literally, I don't know, 4-6 weeks ago, you'd say this one was a big runner, but just doesn't seem to be running that well. Breaking okay, but literally doing 28.40s, and that wouldn't be good enough to win this race. Again, so Val Blonde, I keep saying this one wants a little bit further, probably 4.83 more than 4.50, but I'll be running on late in the day, and at a price you could easily forecast or tricast the 3 in race 4. Moving on to race 5, and this is the best bet on the card. Ragtime Lenny ran really well last time out when given an opportunity. This isn't the strongest B2 in the world, and he has been running with really good dogs such as Coolmore Blakey and Keedy Din and Paradise Syria for that matter as well, all better than this field. I just thought, again, it was a weak B2 and he didn't really have an up in grade here. He was chalked up at decent prices today, sort of 3-1, 5-2, 9-4, contracted into 2-1, but that's still a bet. I made him a short price here. Ragtime Lenny, he's running very, very well. Just needs to start, get rid of Classic Quattro into the turn, who should stay in lane 2. Footfield Adams, another one that probably wants to lead to win. I don't think can. Rosander Katie's got a big uplift in grade here. She's a front runner that I think can't lead. Keedy Aussie can't. This is a dog that is very difficult to assess. He's been running 4.83s back in trip here after a bit of a couple of weeks off the card and came back with a sprint for Jimmy Gaskin, a decent enough sprint, 17:33. But all in all, I thought we'd have to go some to get to Ragtime Lenny, who off the front will be very, very strong. So a confident selection there in race 5. Moving on to race 6. I've got a small play here in this B6 grade event over the 450 metre trip. I'm going for Merlin Sydney to get a decent break and front off. Break a Day Ebony, I thought was a little bit underpriced. Ran all right last couple of ups, but is more of a stayer than anything else. And I think Merlin Sydney could easily trap smartly, claim the rails, lead, and just about hang on. Petty Sparks, an interesting runner. Quite a clumsy greyhound, not a youngster, but not had a lot of races, but just seems very, very green. A September 20, but just had the 8 starts now. But kind of ran off on the turn. I'm not sure whether it's a temperament problem or whether it's just greenness. I don't really know, but definitely speedy enough to win this race. If Paddy Spark did turn in this race, could clear 4, 5, and 6 into the turn and make a race of it with Merlin Sydney. So I'm going to bet 1 and save on 3, both about 4-1 chance, so a bit of value there, but just for small stakes in race 6. Moving on to race 7, a 5-dog affair here. You can see track 5 is vacant for this B5 grade event. Walkaway Demi's got a really good draw here, but for some inexplicable reason ran off out the second bend and didn't drive out of the second bend and showed no pace 2-3. That allowed Hawkfield Wisdom to get inside that rival, and normally that would steer sort of a lane 3 course, Hawkfield Wisdom. So again, Walkaway Demi's got the draw to work from, but it's whether you can forgive her the last line of form. Katunda Dotty will smash and probably move in a bit, so I think 2 and 3 are drawn wrong. Aftonasia's got a double uplift. It was a much weaker race than this, so I think we'll struggle. And the dog I thought might be of interest was the 6 Lunar Jet with a decent draw, slight ease in grade again, wants to dominate, so needs to avoid the kind of breakers on the inside. But maybe at, I don't know, 5-6-1, you might have a tiny bet on 6. But all in all, it was a no-bet race. Moving on to race 8, we put up Kid You Not last time out and got mugged by Anarchy, who I put up the time before at a big price, but Kid You Not, again, has been bashed in the market, 5-2 into 13-8. I didn't have him quite that short. Whizzing Jet's a dog that's moving up in trip. Was a bit of a quirky character at Harlow, and we still haven't seen the best of this one as yet, but whether we will or not is a different matter. Jack's Bandita is a strike rate of 1 from 26. Will probably struggle in this race because Dahi's Rosie in trap 4 has got a good deal of trapping ability. But I think 1 for Coco could be the one to lead here. And whether it's slick enough track for 1 for Coco, because she barely gets the trip. She's got good makeup because Optic Magic will move into the middle of the track from 5. So I was tempted to put up 1 for Coco at about 7-2. Made a slightly shorter than that on the leadability factor more than anything else. She cuts in on the bend as well. So she's going to need to do everything right to clear Dahi's Rosie into the bend. Again, Kid You Not will probably run his race, but I'll pass him by at 13-8. It's far too short. But in the end, I did come up with a bet in race 8. Moving on to race 9 then. This is a sprint, and I've gone for a little bet here on trap 2, Make a Million, who we put up last time out and led and got mugged by a Titanic Tip. So it's probably a weaker race than last time out. And again, at 3-1, 11-4, I thought was a tiny play for Make It a Million to go to the front. Show and Goes, generally a missed break dog that's going to move off a little bit, has got a deal of pace. Burnfoot Tango is probably going to be the main danger, but I didn't make Burnfoot Tango a 2-1 chance. It was far too short. So it was just a small play, trap 2 in race 9. On to the next race. Thought this was tricky enough. Magical Jim is a dog I like. Ricky Overton's Charge was running over B4's missed break, showing early pace and middle gears and not coming home. Switched to the sprint, but went lame. It was a real strange race at the time, and obviously it transpires that Magical Jimmy went lame in the race. But again, because of those missed breaks and then flying to the turn, and if you're still thinking about whether it's going to hurt him or not at the bend, it's an unknown quantity. So I thought I'd probably just watch this race and hope he doesn't drift out for too much and lure me in, because he's definitely got ability and he's up to winning a D3. Titanic Tip, we mentioned that one, that's coming up in class. Mil McGeary's not really a sprinter in 3. And again, then you've got the dogs down the middle, Money Here Lad and Midtown Hope that don't really seem to come out of a box. Burnfoot Duke's going to have a decent draw up on the outside. And there was a bit of a nibble for that, but I didn't think he showed a lot of pace against Mil McGeary last time out, and I didn't see how he could reverse the form unless he really smashes the bars down. So again, no bet in race 10. Moving on to the 11th race, Penny's Dract was the Nat last week and did us the favour, won by 3 lengths, up in class, but it's not a big up in class. And again, I thought the runners here were Penny's Dract in the red and Money Here Lass, who's coming back onto the card after getting bitten. Just had about a month off the card. It was a good trial back as well. So this one could easily rush into the turn and put pressure on Penny's Dract into the bend. And I thought between the pair of them, I made them around about the same price. But on the earlies, I've gone with the bigger price Money Here Lass. So slightly favoured, 3 on top of 1 here in race 11. So on to the final race. My old mate Blast Off Mo's been just getting drawn off the fence a little bit, and I don't think she likes it. She's not the smoothest on the turns, and I think when she's in 1 and she hasn't got a rival on her inside, she's puts in a much better performance. So I'm going to give her another one that's going to give one last chance, because I just think the switch to red might help. Not always the best of breakers, flying to the turn, as I say, and I think she can probably grab the lead here, because there's a few kind of one pacers and missed breakers in this race. All my friends, I don't think is good enough. Come Together could improve, and I think once to be drawn 3 or 4 has been running out of 2. It's a good effort last time out, and again that one could go forward once more, but it is an uplifting grade. I think the main danger is going to be Gentle Maid. Again, another one that doesn't break brilliantly well, but has got a good deal of ability. Had a spell off the card as well, so might just strip fitter for that effort last time out. Haven Penny is a smash breaker with no speed and just chases late on the running. And Long Range Brody, although he's got a good draw, I don't think he's up to this sort of class. So a small bet there, bet 1 and cover on the 4. So I'll see if I can get the a list of runners up. Sorry, the list of bets up for you. If you just bear with me. There you go. So there's the bets then. There you are now. One last chance saloon bet for this ride, because I think she can get to the front here in the 6:28. Lightfoot Robin, a bit of a chance because it's still unknown fitness, but we're dealing with Sean Parker here, so I'm hoping that she'll get to the front and stay there. And 4-1 was a nice price. The nap is the 7:18 Ragtime Lenny. I did back this one at a slightly bigger price, but I do make him still much shorter than 2-1, so that he's still a bet. 7:36, I'm going to bet 1 to lead off and maybe 3 to turn handy to him. So it's a bet and save there. We still get a small profit should Paddy Spark land the spoils. Small bet, make it $1 million in the sprint in the 8:38. I'm going to play both Penny's Drayot and Money Here Lass. And right at the bottom there, in the lucky last, Blast Off Mo at 11-4, and also bet Gentle Maid. That will give us a small profit as well. So as ever, be lucky, and we'll see you again on Wednesday.